Next we have Miguel. Another very popular character online. Strong as hell online with all of his strings. His savage stance is really scary online. 50-50 mix-ups. Good pokes for the most part. Good range with his legs. Like this move is incredible range as a whiff punisher. Forward 1+2 as well. Really good pressure. Not spam pressure, just like good pressure. Like I don't know how to get this guy off me pressure. I would put him... I don't think he's well-rounded because he obviously has range issues with his arms, with his jab range. Like that's just terrible. But his kicks and legs make up for it for the most part. Even though they're still not that great. Savage stance is pretty good. Good damage, good wall carry. Easy enough combos, just fine online with lag. Yeah, I'd put him in decent.
I'd agree.
Next we have Nina. She definitely goes in or on the list of spam friendly characters. I know Nina mains think the world of her and think she's the hardest character to ever play ever. I don't agree because one, not everybody plays at that level where she becomes difficult to win with because she has so many strings, so many mix-ups. She's very, what's the word, flowchart happy, or she can be. Most Ninas, I think you would agree, Spirit, that most Ninas online just strings all day, spam all day. That's my opinion on her. As a character as a whole, I would place her for online. I'd put her in decent because one, she's very user friendly in the sense that as long as she can remember all of her strings and her extensions, then it's up to the opponent to know what to do, which makes it harder to fight against her than to use her.
Yeah.
But she's not that strong in the sense that she's well-rounded enough to take on some of the stronger characters. So I would personally put her in decent, especially online, especially with lag. Anything you want to add?
Yeah, I would say she's decent because she is also very, very steppable. If you just walk her strings, she can very much be punished. Anything from easy prey to can opener, I think, is steppable to her right, which I think is the opposite to Anna, which is steppable to the left. I got those reverse ones. But yes,
Very steppable strings, but still, like, the reaction time you would have to have, because one, you would need a lot of matchup knowledge for her to know that you can step it. And it takes a lot to, like I said, defend against it than to use it. 'Cause you could just do this all day if they're not stepping it, and you're always going to be plus. Even if they block it, low parry, whatever, you're not going to take a lot of damage. If they try and duck the second hit, you're going to get hit by the third. But yeah, she's decent. Next character, we have Mr. Paul Phoenix. The man, the legend, the myth. I think just straight out the bat, he goes in too strong. What do you think?
Oh man. He's too strong, alright. This is crazy because he's such a stiff, wonky character. But he has some tools like no other.
Yeah,
Sway palm.
Yeah, this move. He has a lot of damage, especially with his rage cancel. Just like Brian with the sway moves. He can be unsafe. A lot of things are launch punishable. There's a lot of range, a lot of damage, a lot of mix-ups. But overall, he has everything you need. Great punishment, great whiff punishers, easy enough combos for the damage you get. Wall combos out of this world with 3-2 sway now. Yeah, he's too strong.
And his throw game too.
Yeah, a lot of throws. Yeah, he has every break. But yeah, he goes in too strong, guaranteed. Next we have my second main, Shaheen. So he is just, I want to say, personally, I'd put him in well-rounded, but he does have, not a lot, but some shortcomings. He doesn't have good lows. He doesn't have a good throw game. He doesn't have any panic moves. He does have the second best hop kick in the game next to Claudio. But overall, he has everything you need. Good down forward one, good generics, easy combos, a decent stance, I guess you can call this stance. Good whiff punishers, probably one of the best in the game. Some counter hit moves. Great magic 4. But the thing with his, if you just do the magic, just do the first 4 and don't do 4-1, his combos are almost impossible. So you have to at least do 4-1. So you have to commit to mostly. He doesn't have a lot of good 50-50s other than his full crouch game. But great range, great whiff punishers, great punishment in general. He has 10, 11, 12, no 13, but 2 strong 14 punishes, and then 15 as well. His while standing 2 is at 16 frames, so anything minus 15, that's a low. You have to hop kick, but like I said, that'll probably reach regardless. Yeah, I'd personally put him in well-rounded. What do you think?
I agree.
Yeah, he basically has everything you need. Great starter character. Really good. Next we have Steve. I've tried to use Steve before. I know he's very popular. He has great punishment, great whiff punishment, good evasion, good mix-ups. Not a strong throw game, but he makes up for it. So the thing I think with Steve is he has great generic tools, fast moves, good counter hit moves, good whiff punishment. The thing with him is his combos are kind of weird to do. He does do a lot of damage, but I don't know, I would put him in well-rounded just because of how many good moves he has and how safe he can be as well. He can poke you down, rush you down, make you guess. He has a lot of things. even without any good kicks. Or any kicks, I should say. But yeah, he definitely goes well-rounded because he just has everything you need, but in a not in a fundamental. Well, he's fundamental. How do I word this? He has everything you need, but not in the way that everybody else has them. Like, you kind of have to be unpredictable with him. He can be spam friendly, but yeah, he's very safe for all that he can do. Next we have Xiaoyu. She is very annoying to fight against. She has a lot of evasion, crazy evasion. Like, this fucking makes lows whiff for some reason. Great moves, great pokes. She can move around. She'll never know what the fuck she's gonna do. I would put her... Where'd I put her? Because she's not well-rounded in the sense that everybody else is. Like, she doesn't have great tools, like very strong tools, but the way she breaks the rules and making you whiff and making you just not want to press a button at all, she makes up for it in a way. But as a character in a whole, especially fighting online, I would say she's decent. It's easy to use, breaks the rules like I said before. There's just, you can't not claim that she doesn't break rules, because she just has everything. She's very gimmicky. She has a lot of things that should hit but doesn't. Great mix-ups, great 50-50s, combos are decent. She doesn't get a lot of damage, but she makes up for them with her pokes and evasion. As a character, I'd put her in decent, but online, for the average player, I would say she's well-rounded because of how much you have to know in order to fight against her. What do you think?
I agree. I think she has a lot of tools that can help her become a well-rounded character online. Fantastic Oki setups, probably some of the best in Tekken. Unseeable load rage drive, the evasion from her back turn. Don't try to jab her when her back's turned. Her incredible AOP crouching. You gotta play by her rules when fighting her. That's what it comes down to.
That's true. Next we have Yoshimitsu. I want to say, is he more rule breaking than Xiaoyu, or just as equally with all the gimmicks? In your opinion?
I think he is the king of gimmicks, but with a lot of setbacks.
Yeah, he's a lot more unsafe, I would say. Which is funny because he has good down forward 1, good down forward 2, easy enough combos, good damage, good wall carry, good punishment, great mix-ups, great 50-50s, but even if you know, I'm going to compare him to Xiaoyu a lot in this, but with Xiaoyu, if you know the matchup, it's still hard to fight against her. With Yoshimitsu, if you know the matchup, it works more in your favor than it would for her. Because even though he has a lot of gimmicks and the unblockable hell sweep, or I guess that's slow enough for Snake Edge, but even though he breaks a lot of rules, has great evasion, can get out of anything with this, heal himself, I would put him in decent, not well-rounded, just for the fact that, especially online, he's a lot more unsafe. He's unforgiving if you know the matchup, and it's makes it harder for him to win even if you're really good with Yoshimitsu. I think he just has a lot more setbacks than Xiaoyu does. So he goes in decent. Next we have Akuma. So I know he has a very high execution barrier with his moves. With meter, you have to focus on a lot. I know more how to fight against him than to use him, but Spear does. Well, Spear has more knowledge than I do, so I'm gonna hand this off to him.
Alright. I believe Akuma is indubitably too strong of a character. And the reason I say that is for simple reasons. He has great pokes. Forward 3, down forward 1, etc., etc. He has a 10 frame punish in 1-2, but with a meter, this man could get a whole combo off of a 10 frame punish. And if you know how to use Akuma, that person fighting against you is already at a disadvantage. Most Tekken characters, the rest of the cast don't have dedicated anti-air moves to stop Demon Flip. And let's face it, Demon Flip is annoying to fight against.
That's true.
I know he has minute setbacks such as his backdash and sidestep, but let's be honest. If you're a good Akuma player, it's the opponent that's going to be having to learn to backdash and sidestep more often than not. You're going to be the one flipping in his face and fucking him up. So
he goes in too strong, undeniably.
He's way too strong, indubitably. Yep.
Okay. Next we have Eliza. So, how would I word this? The experience I have fighting her online, as long as you're patient, know how to step her fireballs, she's gotten some really good buffs lately, and a lot of people are freaking out about it. But again, online, when you're not using her at her highest level, I think she's very 50-50 base, with this being high or low. Her dive kick pressure is not as OP as people think it is, even at the wall. Her meter is a lot better, in my opinion, than Geese and Akuma. And what she can do with it, and how fast she gets it, and the moves she gets out of it, the damage she has, her combos, her wall carry is ridiculous as well. I don't know how hard it is to use her, but in my experience fighting against her, it can be annoying, but I don't think she is that strong in general. She's stronger than she used to be, obviously, but in general, I don't think she is even half the character that Geese and Akuma are. Whether you know the matchup or not, I would put her in decent, because I know the potential she has, but online, the players I've run into, they just base everything off of 50-50s, and she's very punishable if you guess right. If you guess wrong, you get some damage, but everybody in Season 3 does a shit ton of damage anyways, has great wall carry. And the Tekken 7 system in general favors offense over defense. But as a character as a whole, I think she goes in decent or well-rounded. It's because she's kind of in the middle. But me personally, I'd put her in decent. You have anything to add?
She is a lot more annoying if you don't know the matchup, that's for sure. But as you said, very 50-50 base. So just a day of labbing her, beat her or not, I'm sure you could figure out what you gotta do against her. She's decent.
Next we have Geese boy. So off the bat, this guy goes in too strong. I know he's been nerfed a lot, especially his meter gain and all that, but if he has meter, and even if he's about to die in rage, he can kill you in one hit. Just one hit, you're dead. He has more, he's very, for a 2D character, he plays more like a Tekken 7 character than Akuma and Eliza, which Spear pointed out, and now that I think about it, I agree. He has good pokes, good range, good counter hit launchers, good launchers in general. Evasion is pretty good. But yeah, if this man has meter, you're dead. Just, you can't make any mistakes. You have to know what to duck, when not to duck. He just has a lot of rule breaking things because he's a 2D character, but just regardless, he's too strong. What do you think?
I agree. He has the pokes of a Tekken 7 character and the damage of a 2D character. Dude's a beast.
Yeah, he's scary for sure. Next we have Noctis. So, to categorize him in an online environment for the average player, I think personally he goes in well-rounded due to the fact his punishment's really good, his range is really good, his 50-50s are good, his mix-ups are good, his pokes are good. He has a lot of good Tekken tools, right? If you know the matchup, it kind of helps with everybody else. He can be very gimmicky and annoying. He can, I don't want to say spammy, but he can break a lot of rules. The thing with him, if you stay in his face, he becomes very linear. Whether it be this move, this move, this move, everything just becomes very linear. If you give him range, he has the upper hand because of forward 2. This tracks a lot better. Just everything tracks a lot better. So you have to stay in his face. But due to that fact, if you're on an infinite stage, you can't really control it because you can't back him into a corner. He has a decent sidestep, decent backdash, but he has all the tools to be safe if you have to be. He has a good parry, great range, easy enough combos. Like I said before, good 50-50s, good damage. Like, he has basically everything you need. Just like Shaheen, just like Claudio, he's very simple, very fundamentally based, but at the same time he can be gimmicky because of all of the sword shit. So I personally would put him in well-rounded just for that fact. Even if you know the matchup and you stay in his face, he still can be pretty hard to fight. Anything to add? Agree, disagree?
I agree.
Alright. Next we have Anna. So the thing with her, especially online, I'm sure you played Anna's. Very much like her sister. Very string heavy, very annoying pressure. But the difference between her and Nina is she is basically a walking 50-50, whether she's standing or crouching. Like, all you have to do is guess right against her, and you can take half her life away. If you guess wrong, she takes your life. That's basically how it works. So, because of that reason, I would put her in decent, not well-rounded, and not just okay. Because she does have a lot of damage. She has great, not great, she has good punishment, good range, phenomenal pressure, easy to use, but because of the guessing game, and if you guess right every time, she has nothing to really open you up with. So I think she goes in just decent. Next we have Lei, the third rule breaker in the game. I would classify Lei as a more fundamentally strong Eddie. He has good punishment, good range, good mix-ups, a million stances, 5,000 rage drives. Just like Xiaoyu, you're never gonna know what the fuck he's doing. Good pressure, easy combos, good wall carry, decent damage for how easy they are. It does take a lot of knowledge to use him because of how many moves he has. It takes obviously even more knowledge to know how to fight against him. In past tournaments, I have fallen to Lei more than once, just because I guessed wrong. He has good pressure, good evasion. I wouldn't say he's well-rounded because he's very gimmicky. And if he had good, strong fundamentals and all those gimmicks, that's just overpowered. So, kind of have to balance it out. But online, yeah, I would put him in just decent because he's easier to counter than, in my opinion, than Yoshimitsu and Ling, but he's still hard as hell to fight against because of the knowledge you have to know in order to defend against him. So I personally would just put him in decent because of that fact. What do you think?
I agree. He definitely has some bad matchups online as well. I personally think Fang is a terrible matchup for Lei amongst other characters with great evasion, because that's more his game too. But he does have a lot of gimmicks to carry him towards more fundamental characters. He's decent.
Next we have the big boy Marduk. So, damage wise, execution wise, punishment, mix-ups, gimmicks, everything he has. Personally, he's, regardless of how you view him, I think he's automatically well-rounded. But because he has so many how do I word this? He has so many options, especially on wake up. You don't get up, he gets a throw. Yep, it's 50-50. He has good counter hit moves, great combo routes. You don't have to do the same thing. He has a shove, he has great pressure. He can be very unsafe with, if you know the matchup, ducking his strings, blocking his lows, breaking his throws. I would put him in too strong just because he literally has everything. He has one of every break. He has 19,000 launchers, 100,000 mix-ups, best Okizeme in the game. Even if you stay on the ground, like I said, you get a throw. He has crouch throws, he has standing throws, he has air throws, he has everything. If you guessed wrong, the damage output alone is just ridiculous, especially online. Yeah, he definitely goes in too strong. I assume you already agree to that.
Yup. But damn, is he fun to play.
Yeah, that's just insane.
Does that not look fun to you?
Yeah, too strong. Next we have Armor King. I personally think he is very underrated. So I think he's underrated, especially with other tier lists, because all I hear, well, mostly, I won't say all, it's a bad word to use. A lot of people only, when talking about Armor King, only compare him to regular King, and that's just not fair. As a character, as his own character, he's weaker than King overall. Just throws, counter hits, launchers, everything. But he's not as weak as people think. He has great throws, great punishment, great counter hit tools, great counter hit launchers, good mix-ups. One of the best down forward ones in the game, in my opinion. Decent mix-ups, 50-50s. What else can I say about it? I would put him in decent just because he has a lot of shortcomings. Damage is not one of them, punishment's not one of them. But if you know the matchup, it makes it exponentially more difficult for Armor King to do well. But just like Marduk, he has crouch throws, he has air throws, he has ground throws, he has it all. Good mix-ups, good pressure. But again, it's just something about him that just leaves him a little on the weaker side. Don't get me wrong, you can do very well with him, especially if your opponent doesn't know how to break throws. I would say he's more defensive than offensive, just because of the moveset he has. But I would say he goes in decent. Next we have Julia. So the main points with her, to do her like high damage combos and everything, she has a pretty decent execution barrier with all this wind roll, combos, movement. It would take a lot of practice to get down, but it's unnecessary in a sense, because you could do a lot of damage for just doing simple combos, but just like that, right? A forward one. Afterwards, it takes some timing, but with enough practice, there's plenty of stuff you could do with her. She has great punishment, really strong 50-50s, decent Oki, easy wall combos, but everything she has is minus 14. Like literally. If it's not launch punishable, it's minus 14. So in that aspect, being very unsafe, kind of knocks her down. But she has good range, good mix-ups, great pressure. One of the best wall carries in the game before everybody else got a buff to theirs. I would put her in well-rounded, even with how unsafe she is. You agree?
I would agree.
Yeah, she's a beast. Especially online. Next, we have Negan. So, at launch, he was not that strong at all. He was lacking a low from his stance. His intimidation stance was not that intimidating. But now that he's been buffed, I would put him in decent, only because of how unsafe he can be. He's very easy to fight against. Very unsafe, so all you have to do is be defensive. I would say all you have to do, but if you're more defensive than offensive, you'll probably get the upper hand. He does have a really good punishment. One of the best 10 frame punishments in the game. Good counter hit launchers, good Okuzemi. Good range. Some string mix-ups, but again, if you know the matchup, very easy to see. This one being one of them. You're probably going to always low parry this for free damage if they complete it. Probably duck this every time, because eating that knee is not that, even on counter hit. Yeah, 18 damage to 21. It's not a lot, and it definitely beats out having to deal with his intimidation stance in those 50-50s. But overall, as a character, I would put him in just decent, even with all his buffs. Even though his range is pretty good, his damage is good, his combos work from any side, any distance. His pressure is really good as well. I think his pressure is very underrated. But again, if you're just patient and let him do his thing, you'll probably get the upper hand. So that's why, in my opinion, he just goes indecent. Next, we have Zafina, the 4th most rule-breaking character in the game. Probably between her, Lily, and Eliza are the best backdashes and sidesteps in the game. Like, she just gets out of there. Great evasion. Her punishment is decent. Her whiff punishment's really good because a lot of things have really good range. Her combos are kind of difficult, especially with this ender. Her stance moves and 50-50s are really strong. This stance not as much, but this one is probably her strongest one. I don't know if I'd put her in too strong, because even if you know the matchup, she is very hard to fight against. She has great pressure, really good frames, really good damage. This as a whiff punisher is insane. Was it on counter hit? That's a lot of damage. I would personally put her in well-rounded, because she can be unsafe. She has, you see this online all the time, which is launch punishable. Yeah, people online make her very unsafe, but if you play safe with her and just rely on her 50-50 mix-ups and landing combos and whiff punishment, she's very, very well-rounded. What do you think?
I think she's a pain to punish when she does her scorpion stance thing. Like, you know, getting wild rising punishment out of blocking one of her lows. Oof, good luck. And I think if you're a defensive player, you got a tremendous upper hand on the opponent with her backdash and mix-ups if you go in on her. But, like you said, she can be unsafe. And with the proper sidestep, and the locking of her, you know, standing 3 thing, guess she could get knocked down to well-rounded, but it's like top of the well-rounded list for me.
Yeah,
She's
very top. Yeah, she's almost as strong. Next we have Ganryu. So how do I explain him? His stances and his 50-50s are low-key not as strong as you put them by themselves, but with added on his pressure with everybody, like all you need is this, right? And the stance and then 50-50s out the gate. He does a lot of damage. He does a lot of evasion with sitting down. He's very gimmicky. With this being his hell sweep. Easy combos, easy damage, especially his wall combos. Really good wall carry. Great whiff punishment, great punishment in general. A lot of good setups. Great throws as well, especially in this. I mean, mostly you'll online people just go for the launcher, so all you have to do is break the 1+2 or whatever it is. This move online is very hard to fight against. Yeah, that's not even optimal. He has a lot of tools. He has a lot of strings. He can make his down forward 2 safe if he does the extensions and they try and punish it. You'll get at least the follow-ups afterwards. His rage art is really good. His rage art's way too fucking long though. That shit lasts a year. I thought Noctis's was bad. I thought Marduk's was bad. This guy. Especially if it ends the round and he sits there and all this shit falls over. But anyways.
Oh,
yeah, as a character, I'd say he's well-rounded because of how much damage he gets, how easy he is to use, his punishment, his whiff punishment, his, he's very slow. But putting him in just decent doesn't make sense. So he's very well-rounded in my opinion. Next we have the most controversial character in all of fighting game history, Mr. Leroy. So, the thing with him, obviously everyone knows when he was first released, he was insanely broken, with him having the best of everything, tracking hell sweep, fastest orbital, a second raise drive. With this, he just has it all. He can spam down 3-2 just like Hurong's, down 3-4 I think, or is it 4-3?
3-4.
Yeah, his stance is very, very strong because you can parry out of it. It has an automatic low counter, which you can get one of 3 options from. Was it that or 2-1? Yeah, his combos are easy. He's still, even after being nerfed, was it twice now?
Yes.
92 damage. Yeah, that's insane. He's automatically too strong. One of the best 10 frames into stance. 12 frame, everything he has. Yeah, he's undeniably too strong. There's just not much more to say about him. He just has everything. He'll always have everything. He'll never not be too strong unless they take out some of his moves and literally delete some of the moves he has. He'll never not be too strong. Next, we have Fahkumram. Just like Leroy, automatically goes in too strong. His backdash is still amazing. His sidestep got nerfed, but it's still, for a big character, it's still really good. Punishment, really good. His 10 frame fucking wall splats. His range, even though I agree he should have a lot of range because of how tall he is and lengthy and his style of fighting, his range is insane. His standing 3 alone. One of the only characters that can, was it him and Julia, I think, are the only 2 characters that can punish Brian's 3+4 consistently. But even with Julia, you have to be basically frame perfect with her 4-4-1 4. But with him, you just do standing 3. Guaranteed punish. Great homing moves, great launchers, great mix-up potential. His guard breaks. He breaks the rules with that. I believe that's what Geese was supposed to be. But they made it better with him, and this is how it's supposed to work. Yeah, his whiff punishment, his launchers, his counter hit, his kick parry is not that good. His punch parry being a launcher is insane. Yeah, his strings, everything. He has it all. Anything you want to add?
Nah.
Yeah, he's too strong. Him and Leroy are literally all I hear about and all I see online, YouTube videos, everything. Just you either see him, any online tournament or video, it's either him or Leroy. But thank you for watching. This is the tier list for average players. If you, I'm sure you will agree, disagree, whatever, leave it in the comments. I'll see you in the next video.